Hi guys, Ali Taylor here, and today I'm going to show you how to hit the driver from the inside every single time. Right then guys, so most golfers, particularly if you're watching this video, probably struggle with slicing the ball or maybe it fading in a little bit more than you would want and don't always feel you've got the correct control over the golf ball. Now, the big influence is obviously the shape of the ball is very much determined by the path that the club face is moving at impact. So as I move away from the golf ball, what you will see with most golfers, I'm going to use this hoop as a visual representation in a second, but what you'll see from most golfers is that with driver, even kind of the fairway woods, you'll tend to see from a reasonable setup, everything can look pretty decent on the way back, and then on the way down, the club goes out that way, works very, very out to win, or left for a right-handed golfer. The club face is usually, well, it's definitely then open to that, so the ball sets off a little bit right of the path and then shapes that way. So if we're going to hit the driver from the inside every single time, there's actually another little term that we need to understand rather than swing path. And I think if you're watching this video, this could be a real light bulb moment for you. So when you look at your golf swing, it moves in a circle, obviously a bigger version of this, but if we look to the side, that's kind of the angle we would swing driver on, okay? So in that ideal world, we would see that that club works up and then hopefully just shallows out a little bit, comes in, follows down, and then collects the golf ball. But we're also told with driver that we need to get the lowest point of our golf swing behind the golf ball to help us hit up, to help us maximize distance. Now, I'm going to introduce a swing term called swing direction that becomes a really, really key thing to understand. Now, swing path is the direction the club head is moving, certainly with TrackMan, at full compression of the golf ball, okay? Now, swing direction is actually the direction your golf swing is moving at the lowest point of its golf swing. Now, this can massively change your swing path dependent on where the low point of your golf swing is. So as we've just spoken about, with driver, we are looking to get our low point behind the golf ball to get the club to travel up. Now, when we do that, if I were to swing my swing direction dead straight, so the club would be moving straight at the lowest point of the golf swing, but as the club starts to move up, it actually starts moving more left. So I could be somebody who swings, swing direction dead straight, but still have an out to in swing path. Now think about that for a second. In theory, you could be somebody whose swing direction is actually from the inside and to the right, and if your low point's far enough behind, that club could be moving up a huge amount by the time it gets to the ball, still creating an out to in swing path. So this is where I think swing direction becomes so important with driver. So what I want us to work on is if you're somebody who, particularly somebody who draws their irons, who then slices their driver, this can be a huge issue mentally. You think, well, I'm obviously swinging from the inside because I'm getting that path out to the right with my irons, but I can't do it with driver with the same swing. No, you can't, because with your irons, that low point's after, so the club's still traveling down and to the right. That's where that swing path's there. So what I want us to feel is we're going to make a few swings where we just think about swing direction rather than swing path. We're then going to allow, when we hit shots and kind of where that low point is, that's going to influence whether we're still into out swing path, straight, or less out to in. So I think a lot of guys feel like they try and swing a little from the inside. And if you look at the way that hoop is on the ground there, even if I swing a little bit left, as we come down here, we can see that club still looks pretty good. but by the time I get back to the ball, it's working way left. So we're going to make a few swings where I want you to really feel quite exaggerated that the swing direction is very much over to the right. So we're going to swing back as normal and then feel the club works down and over to the right. So do that again, back and to the right. Now, it's obviously not always easy to commit to that when you're hitting shots on the golf course, because club face becomes really vital to set the ball off in the right place. But if we want to work on swing path for now, the first thing we have to change is that swing direction. And I think most guys, even when I ask them to swing to the right, I just don't see anything nearly exaggerated enough. So how exaggerated can we swing? That felt a long way right. And again. Now it's interesting because I think certainly when you do this with golfers, not only do they feel that as the club drops down and swings much more to the right, they also feel the hands react very, very differently, which is definitely that club face closing that little bit earlier, which should get the ball setting off a little bit better. And then if we have swung enough to the right, even if that low point's behind the golf ball, we're going to start seeing the ball shape the other way. So a real key thing to notice though, is if we have a little close-in look at this, is I would generally get my low point maybe 4 or 5 inches behind the golf ball. So even, obviously my path, my swing is a little bigger than this, so it's not quite as exaggerated, but even if I go quite a long way to the right, I have to move a long way to the right to even get that straight. So actually to get that being more in to out, my swing direction could really hugely move that way. So I think particularly while we're in lockdown, this is a great opportunity. Some guys have got nets, so I'm not going to hit a ball into the bushes, but I have got a net apparently arriving shortly. But I want guys to really get an exaggerated feel for that swing direction. And I think the more exaggerated you can get that, then obviously as long as that club face is catching up a little bit, you're going to change your swing path absolutely hugely. And it's really, really going to help you feel that as you swing down, the hands can release better. Now, I know when I do this in coaching sessions with guys, I think the big challenge for guys is they tend to really, really worry that if they do this movement, that the ball's actually going to go over there. Now, my challenge is if the club face matches up, it will do. But all we're working on for this video is changing that swing path. And like I said, I think understanding swing direction is a huge one. You know, if you are somebody who has worked in the past on getting that low point behind, because we all get told, and I've done videos on it, that hitting up helps us maximize driver. Even if you're swinging very, very straight, that club swing path by impact could be 3-4 degrees left. Now, even if you've got that club face pointing at the target, with driver, that's going to create a considerable amount of shape on the golf ball. So it is where driver swing and iron swing for me has to be different. And if you want to hit your driver from the inside every single time, you have to be willing, certainly in practice, to exaggerate that swing direction much more to the right, possibly than you've ever done. I mean, certainly with my golf swing, I would say that with my irons, I definitely get too much from the inside. So then the danger is, as I've worked on reducing that with my irons, I've probably then found that I've always hit a nice draw with driver. Nowadays, I actually find I hit a little fade with driver. Now, certainly if I go back 10 years, that would have really, really struggled with confidence for me, because I'd have felt I'm making the same swing, but the ball's shaping completely different, and I wouldn't have understood why. Now I understand, because the golf ball's in a different part of the arc. You know, one, it's the low point's after, so it's on, the club's moving down and to the right. With driver, the club's moving up and more left. So I can actually make the exact same golf swing with a 7-iron and a driver and see two completely different shape of shots. Now, I think this helps as well, because if you then need to change your shape of shot, in theory, if you change your swing direction more, your path will take care of itself. I know there's the argument if you change your path, you are changing your direction, but my challenge is, let's say you changed your path and your low point moves and you're not aware of these things, it becomes very, very difficult to get good feedback on what you're doing. But like I said, never ever be afraid in practice to really get that feeling of exaggerating, swinging as much to the right as you can. And I think the more to the right you can swing, I'll almost guarantee that you won't do it that exaggerated as soon as the golf ball's introduced. Golfers don't, but you have to be willing to exaggerate it first in order to even get somewhere in between where you'd normally be and where you'd like to be. So guys, hope you've enjoyed today's video. Something a little bit different, and like I said, maybe hopefully a little bit of a light bulb moment for you guys. Make sure that the direction you swing in the golf club, if you want to hit the driver from the inside every time, is much more to the right than it has ever been. If you're doing that and you're maintaining that low point behind the golf ball, you are going to hit some phenomenal shots with a very, very different shape than you're used to. So if you have enjoyed today's video and you don't currently subscribe, please hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and then you'll find out whenever I drop a new video. Follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Ali Taylor Golf. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here soon. Stay in contact.